Hello, hello, hello. I'm Vivian from vivianmcgrath.com, and I want to talk about 3 ways that women sabotage their chances of success. Because many of my clients are women who have worked really hard over their lives to build their careers. Actually, I'm just going to put some light on. Hold on, because I think I'm sort of sitting here in the dark, aren't I? Hang on. Oh, there we go. Now you can see me. So as I was saying, a lot of my clients are women who've spent, really worked hard all their lives, built a successful career, bought their homes, they've educated their children. Some of them are even at the point where their children have built successful lives of their own and are now, in some cases, moving on to start families of their own and build their own careers. And they're just left a little bit empty inside. And they come to me and they say, nothing I've ever achieved, even though on paper it looks fantastic, nothing I've ever achieved is good enough in my mind. It's not successful enough. And they sort of feel that maybe they haven't lived up to their greatest potential, or they've just lost a bit of passion and purpose, and they just don't have their mojo anymore. Does that make sense? And they've always longed for a really balanced relationship with a high-value man, not the sort of men or women that they've wasted their lives on, that really were less than them, less than what they deserved, and they'd spend their lives sacrificing too much for them. They really dreamt that maybe one day they could be part of a team with somebody who gives back to them. And there is part of many of my clients have felt the same way, that where they feel like, I'm never going to have that. They realize they're not getting any younger, and they do fear, what if it's too late for me? What if I never ever get to experience that? And they also, there's more. They want to, they feel dissatisfied and frustrated because they feel like they haven't lived up to their potential, and they've got so much, they've had all these past experiences, and they want those experiences to matter. They want to really fully show up and tell their story, make what they do matters so that it makes a difference to other people in the world, but also so that it leaves a real legacy for their children. So their children think, wow, mum has absolutely fulfilled her potential. She's winning at life. She's, the legacy that she's leaving by making her mark on the world is exceptional. And it does leave them with this sense of just, what is it that sabotaged my potential for the success that I deem in my eyes to be where I really thought I would be in my life at this point? Well, if you're feeling like that, is any of you feeling like that? Because I'm just going to put my comments on so I can see who's here. Because you're not alone. So many of my clients all feel the same way as this. And there's 3 things that I would say today that sabotage, many women's chances of success. The first is that you're trapped in perfection. We are often, especially high achieving women, are so hard on ourselves. It's like we've got this judge's gavel that we use to beat ourselves up with all the time. Nothing we achieve is ever good enough. Our expectations are so high that we never are going to achieve that perfection. And worse, when we actually do achieve it, we shift the goalposts. And then again, we're never going to live up to that expectation, because even though we've moved it higher and higher and higher. And when you think about it, when you keep doing that, what you're going to do is you're just going to ever strive for more, greater, better success. And that need for perfection, that need for I can't speak today. That need for perfection leads us into this complete trap where we need to we strive harder because we don't think we've succeeded well enough. We haven't. It's not great enough. It's not good enough. It's not perfect enough. So then when we do, we raise the bar, we shift the goalpost, and then again, we have to strive harder ever more to keep reaching that bar. And it's like a hamster in a wheel. And oh my God, it's so exhausting. And imagine, just imagine, you must know how I feel if you feel like this. Imagine, all that inner critic in your head, that is the judge with the gavel who just says it's not good enough. You might have a master's degree, a doctor. I've had women who've come to me with master's degrees, doctorate degrees, and they still feel like a failure. And, I say to them, what if you spoke to your best friend and used all those words that judge inside you with the gavel who beats yourself up every day? What if you said all those things to your friend? You never would you? We are so hard on ourselves. Do any of you feel that way? Let me know in the comments below. The second thing that is a real killer and is going to sabotage your chance of success is that you're too eager to please. So number one, trapped in perfection. Two, you're eager to please. Have you ever been in a meeting, for example, and somebody just keeps talking over you the whole time, or starts to take credit, say, for something that you've done, you've worked really hard at, and they start to take all the glory from? I've had that before. Yet you just don't speak up. You don't say anything. And you leave that meeting and your stomach is churning inside. I've done this. And you go home and you think, you just start to well with anger. Less at them for being so rude, but more that you did not stand up. And that's, very, very, very common to anyone who's a people pleaser. Because when you're a people pleaser and you're too eager to please, you fear confrontation. You don't like conflict. It feels very, very, very uncomfortable to you. And you feel that if you stand up and speak out, even when you justly deserve to, then you're going to be rejected or judged, and it's really scary. So what do? You do everything to keep the peace. And what you do is you basically feel like, I have to put their needs first above my own. I have to keep my head down, just not speak out. You start to take on responsibility for how everybody else feels, which is why you end up quite often in toxic relationships with unavailable people as well, by the way, just as an aside. So you sabotage your chances of happiness in relationships as well. When you're putting more than 90% of all the hard work and effort into this relationship, and then when it goes wrong, you also take on 100% of the responsibility and the blame. That is people pleasing. And what happens when you, in your career, in your relationships, in your family life, when you're always putting everybody first and you last because you want to keep the peace, you want to avoid conflict, you're too eager to please. That's exhausting too. And you absolutely just lose yourself completely along the way. Have you ever felt like that? I don't even know who I am anymore. But the thing about being too eager to please and a people pleaser is what then happens is two things. One is that you, in the end, your happiness becomes so dependent on pleasing other people. Your very self-worth, being validated by your sense of sacrifice for other people, becomes the most important thing. And so you become a hostage to other people's moods, other people's behavior, whether you can please them or not. And if you can't, and they say something critical, or they do what I described in the meeting, and they just ignore your feelings, you take it to heart, take it personally, and your sense of self-worth gets a massive hit. And then you feel even worse. And then you do more people pleasing to try and fix it, to try and rescue the situation, to try and feel better. You strive harder to please, do more, sacrifice yourself more. And can you see that also becomes in this massive hamster wheel cycle? And what happens is you twist yourself in even greater knots trying to please everybody. And that's even more exhausting. And you're in this spiral downwards. You know, saying no, learning the word no for me, God, it was the hardest word I ever learned, but the most liberating when I could finally say no. That's not good enough for me. I have needs. My needs matter, you know, but it's really, 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 really difficult. But even worse, the second thing is you can actually get stuck in that martyrdom. And that sense of martyrdom, that I sacrifice myself for everybody, I'm the people pleaser, can also become a bit of a badge of honor. And you can almost hide behind it. And that becomes this comfort zone that makes you feel good about yourself. Well, I'm the one who sacrifices. I put everybody else first. And you can get a really screwed up sense of an honor badge. You know, you see those martyrs at the schools who volunteer for everything and tell the world about what a martyr, that they sacrifice for everything and everybody. But the downside of that is the longer you do that, the more you can start to really resent the people you're sacrificing yourself for. And then that's not a payoff that's good for you. Does that make sense? And so that being too eager to please absolutely is, and trapped in perfection are two of the ways that women constantly sabotage their chances of success. And the third way is that you play small, which is deeper than being afraid to speak out in that meeting I described when you're too eager to please. Being afraid to play small is, and a lot of women I talk to are like this, they've got big dreams. They've got really exciting goals and passions that they want to step up and fulfill, but they are just too scared. It's safer playing small and not putting yourself out there and trying, because there's a huge risk to doing so. And that risk is, what if I put myself out there and I fail? And it's greater than that. It's you know, we have this sense, what if I fail? What if I make a fool of myself? So many of us do not try and give ourselves a chance because we're just absolutely terrified of failing and making a fool of ourselves. But it goes much deeper than that. It's not just about feeling like I've made a fool of myself. It's a really deep sense of the next thing. What if I make a fool of myself and I fail and everybody rejects me? It's an absolute fear of rejection, because that, you know, taking risks, getting out of your comfort zone, putting yourself out there, the risk is, I'm going to make a fool of myself. I'm going to fail and I'm going to be rejected. And that feeling of vulnerability is so frightening that it's greater than you wanting to get out of your comfort zone. Does that make sense? So it's more comfortable to stay in that that sense of, I've got to not feel vulnerable. I've got to protect myself and stay feeling safe, because vulnerability scares me. So what do I do to feel safe? I play small. I keep my head down. I never get outside my comfort zone and take risks and step up and really go out there and go for my dreams and take that chance. And I cannot tell you how many women come to me who I can see are doing that. They're trapped in perfection. They're too eager to please. They play small and safe because it's so frightening to be a bit vulnerable and get outside their comfort zone. And so the worst part about that is that the longer you stay in this pattern of self-sabotage, which is what it is, the more that will become your comfort zone, and it becomes a trap of your own making, because it's a comfort zone, a sense of safety, but it means you're never going to fulfill your potential. You're never going to find out what it's like if you absolutely go for your dreams. You're never going to build that legacy of making all the bad experience of your life matter and help you to create something that's going to make difference to other people's lives and show your children what showing up fully, self-worth, and really getting out of your comfort zone to create the life that you absolutely dream of is like. So you can get stuck there. You can, I see so many women who are stuck, and they say, you know what, and when you get stuck there, the other thing that you do is you go into this comfort zone of telling yourself excuses why it's okay to stay stuck there. You know what, I'm too old, I'm too set in my ways, it's too late for me, all of that stuff. But I'm here to tell you that you don't have to live like that. What if you could set strong boundaries, show up for yourself, put yourself first, never settle for less than you deserve again, never let somebody talk over you without you setting that boundary? What if you could fearlessly go for your dreams? What if you could get outside that comfort zone and not care if you're going to fail without fear of failure? What if you could show your children what doing that will bring them in their career, their life, their relationships? So if that is you, I want you to, I've got to jump off now, but I wanted to really encourage you to grab my free ebook. I've put the link on the screen. I'll put it in the description below, vivianmcgrath.com/ebook. And that really goes into this cycle that we can get trapped into, that subconsciously is sabotaging all of our chances of success and happiness in our lives. So grab that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.